You ever get the feeling someone's missing? Well, Downton Abbey. The grand finale is almost here, and fans can't help but notice that one major character has been strangely absent from all the trailers. And it's not just a minor figure, it's someone whose journey has been one of the most emotional and transformative arcs in the entire series. So, what's going on? Let's dive into why Thomas Barrow's name is suddenly missing from the spotlight, and why that might mean something bigger than we think. From the moment those first teasers landed, the visuals were grand. The Crawleys navigating social change, the familiar kitchen buzzing with staff, and even newer characters like Guy Dexter stepping into the frame. But oddly enough, there's no sign of Thomas Barrow. None. And that's a pretty glaring omission when you think about how central he's been over the years. It's not like actor Robert James-Collier isn't in the film, he is. His return has been confirmed. So why hide him? One theory? Maybe his storyline is being kept secret on purpose. Not because it's sad or insignificant, but because it could hold a surprise. And when it comes to Thomas, a surprise could mean anything from a major life decision to an emotional reunion. Let's rewind for a second. At the end of a new era, Thomas finally stepped away from Downton. He left to become Guy Dexter's personal assistant, though it was clear to everyone what that really meant. They were in love. It was a quietly powerful ending for a man who had spent most of his life believing he'd never be able to love freely or be loved in return. So now, with Guy front and center in the new footage, starring in a West End play, even being applauded by familiar faces like Anna, Bates, and Baxter, it would make perfect sense for Thomas to be nearby. Backstage, perhaps, or waiting at home in London. But still, not a single glimpse of him. It could be that his story is just more peaceful this time. Maybe he's living the happy, private life he never thought possible, and that doesn't require being swept back into the drama of Downton. Not everyone needs to be caught up in family crises or estate troubles to matter. But there's another angle worth considering. This final film seems to be focusing more on the upstairs lives of the Crawleys, especially Lady Mary, who's stepping into a leadership role as she takes over from her father, Lord Grantham. But it's not a smooth transition. The Crawleys are facing a real threat, the looming financial fallout of the 1930s. The Great Depression is hitting hard, and Downton's future has never looked more uncertain. There are hints that the family may even have to walk away from the estate entirely, a shocking prospect, but one that would realistically reflect the pressures of that time. Tenant farmers struggling to pay rent, investments disappearing overnight, trade collapsing. Downton's wealth wasn't just sitting in a vault. It was tied to real-world systems that were now falling apart. And if the family is in danger of losing Downton, that brings up another emotional question. What happens to the people who kept it running all these years? The housemaids, the valets, the cooks, the butlers? They're not just employees. They're the heart of the place. And a farewell to Downton might mean farewell to everything they've known. At least one person, though, seems to have moved on. Thomas Barrow, the once controversial butler who finally found stability and love, may be living a very different life now. But could that be why he's been left out? Because he doesn't need saving anymore? Still, you can't help but wonder if the film is saving his reappearance for just the right moment. A surprise visit to Downton during its final days. A quiet conversation with Mary. A moment where the man who used to feel trapped by the walls of the house returns. Not to stay, but to remind them that there is life after Downton. It'd be powerful to see Thomas offer guidance, maybe even suggest ways to keep the estate alive. After all, he knows what it's like to adapt. He's had to do it his whole life. Meanwhile, the effects of the Depression could ripple far beyond the main house. Imagine Daisy's family farm falling into hardship, or Mr. Molesley's relatives losing jobs in a nearby town. These stories would add realism and heart, grounding the drama in something millions of real families faced at the time. And maybe that crisis forces change. Maybe Isabel starts a community kitchen or relief effort. Maybe Edith uses her magazine to highlight stories of resilience and survival. The old world is crumbling, but that doesn't mean hope disappears with it. And perhaps through it all, Thomas isn't the one who needs to be saved. Maybe he's the reminder of what survival looks like. what growth, love, and personal peace can mean after years of internal struggle. Whether he's standing quietly in the wings of a London theater or briefly walking through Downton's halls one last time, his presence, even unspoken, says something important. Thomas Barrow, once the lonely footman, may finally be the man who found exactly what he deserved: peace, purpose, and someone to share it with. So, yes, while this film is likely to tie up dozens of storylines, explore heartbreak, joy, change, and goodbye, just knowing Thomas is out there, living the life he always dreamed of, might be the most perfect ending of all. Thanks for watching. And if you're just as curious to see how it all ends, don't forget to subscribe. We'll be back to unpack every twist once the grand finale arrives.